but she's got a perfect spot over there. So sit however's comfortable. If you are at home and you need to sit up on anything, do it. Sit on blankets if you want. Keep my socks on a little bit longer. It's chilly. So just ease your way into sitting up nice and tall. It is Tuesday, the 19th of January. Just trying to keep track of time, right? Which isn't easy. So get comfortable, shift around a little bit if you'd like to, so that you feel very easy in the way that you're sitting, whether you're cross-legged or you stretch your legs out. And be sure to sit up on a blanket if that feels better for your hips. And then just close your eyes and let your breath come in and go out through your nose. Feeling, even through your mask actually, feeling the coolness of the air as it comes in through your nose. A little bit warmer as you exhale. So full breaths, feeling the belly expand as you inhale. If you're comfortable to come into those three parts, you can inhale into your belly, into your ribs, and all the way up into your chest. Your eyes gently open here, and let's let ourselves just look down with your eyes, not your head coming down, but just let your eyes focus downward towards the ground, maybe just a few feet in front of you there. And then start to look up with your eyes. So you're trying to look up towards the ceiling, keeping your head just the same. And then go down again, looking down with your eyes. And then let yourself look up with your eyes. And then come down again, focusing downward. And then one more time, back up. And then come back, close your eyes for a second. Let yourself release there. Feel your eyes relaxing. If you have on glasses right now, maybe take them off for just a second, okay? And then open your eyes again and look up towards the right. So you look up towards the right corner of the room, or maybe up a little higher. So you're looking to the right corner of your eye with both eyes, and then down towards the left and down. So again, go up to the right with your eyes, and then down to the left, and then one more time up to the right, and then down to the left. And now switch to look up to the left, and then down to the right. So you're going across. Taking those diagonal lines up to the left, and then down to the right. One more time, up to the left, and then down to the right. And then come back to center, close your eyes, take your hands together, and rub your palms together swiftly, just creating a little bit of heat there. So keep rubbing, feel that friction, creating heat a little bit. And now you're going to cup your hands over your eyes without touching them. So let yourself just cup your hands over your eyes, and your eyes are closed. There's a little bit more darkness there now. Let yourself just release. Imagine your eyes really relaxing here now. Just feel the sense of releasing, almost like your eyes are melting back into the sockets. We'll unfold our arms on down beside us. Good. Shake your hands out a little bit. If you need to put your glasses back on, do. And now start to ease your way forward and back with your breath. Let your exhalations bring you forward with a long back, and your inhalations bring you back up to sitting. So just easily now moving with your breath. Keeping that length of the spine. Does not matter how far forward you go. That gentle rocking motion. Very calming. the next time you come just a little bit forward, stay there for a second, and then shift over to your left. Put your left hand on the floor. Put your right hand right above your right knee and encourage that knee just a little more away from you. So you're supported by your left hand. You're just finding a little extra here in your side waist. Just extending the knee a little further away. And then we'll come back through center and we're just going to switch. So bring your right hand to the floor. And again, just extend with your left hand. Kind of push that left knee away from you a little bit more. And then we'll come on back into center again. And let's rise on up. Bring our hands behind us here now. Let yourself open your chest and let your gaze come up as far as feels good for your neck. So whether you just look up a little bit or maybe you want to look all the way up towards the ceiling, letting your throat stretch out a little bit. Not if it bothers your neck. And then we'll rise back up. Bring your right hand over towards your left knee here now. Look down for a second towards the floor. Release your neck. And then on your next inhale, rise your chin up parallel to the floor. Draw your right sitting bone down towards the floor into your twist here. Doesn't matter where you look, whether you look towards the wall beside you, maybe you want to look a little more behind you, totally up to you. One more breath. And now draw yourself back to center. Stay here at center for a breath here. And then come forward just a little bit again. And then as you inhale, let yourself come back up. And then we'll bring our left hand to our right knee and rotate around again here now and lower your chin down just a little bit. So let yourself draw your chin down. You might feel it kind of between the shoulder blades on your back. And then when you inhale, bring your chin back up, more parallel to the floor. And again, you can look however far back you want. You can stay looking beside yourself. Be easy, be mindful, just let it feel good. One more breath. And then use your belly as you exhale to draw yourself back around into center. And we're going to switch our legs. So stretch your legs out if you need to before you bring that other leg in front if you're cross-legged, or keep your legs long if you want. We'll do a little bit again of that coming forward and back, letting your exhales bring you forward and your inhales bring you back. And really think about keeping release here in the back of your neck. So be mindful. Sometimes the chin wants to come up, right? Try to keep yourself with the back of your head in line with your spine. Feel nice and open across your chest. And then we'll finish to sit back up tall again here now. And again, put your left hand on the floor. Use your right hand to encourage that right knee just a little bit away from you. And now from here, see if you can release your right arm beside you and then start to slowly bring it out and up, straight up from your shoulder. Turn your palm forward. Let yourself find a little more now through this whole side of the body. And then turn your palm down towards the floor as you try to lower the arm down closer towards your head. One more breath here. And then we'll draw ourselves on back up. Bring the right hand to the floor, left hand right above your knee. And again, just lean over a little bit. Encourage that left knee a little further away from you. You've got your right hand there giving you support. And now release your left arm so that it starts to float up, straight up from your shoulder. Turn the palm forward for a second. Let yourself just enjoy feeling more space there in the left side. And then start to draw the palm to face the ground as you let the arm come down closer towards your head. Coming in as far as you want into your side stretch. And then we'll rise to come all the way on back up. Fingertips lightly touching the ground. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let your exhale bring your hands down together in front of your heart. And we'll reverse. If you want to follow your hands with your focus, do. Inhaling the hands up through the midline. And on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down. And shake your hands out a little bit. We're heading towards our hands and knees, so if your wrists need a little bit of release there, come on around and grab a blanket if you need for underneath your knees, of course. Take your time. Once you get down there, kind of stretch one leg back at a time and ease your way into feeling the backs of the legs just a little bit before you settle onto your hands and knees. And when you do get ready, get your hands comfortable however you want to. Fists if you need to. Let your pointer fingers be about parallel. Inner elbows turn to face each other. And on your next inhale, send your tailbone back and up and move into either a neutral spine or into your cow pose. And then when you exhale, draw up into your cat pose, easing your way through your spine here. So this movement can be as big or as little as you want, right? You can let your cat-cows be rather minimal, right? Or you can draw extremely and more into the curves of the back there. Be mindful of what feels good to you. Just imagine you're waking up your spine easily here. And then we'll finish the one we're on. Come back to more neutral spine. And bring your right forearm down onto the floor, parallel to the front edge of your mat, and reach your left arm forward and sink your forehead down towards your forearm. You can even let it rest there if you want. And then just let yourself spread your fingers wide. Let your hips shift back a little bit. Imagine your heart melting down towards the ground. So feeling your shoulders here engaging, letting yourself feel that sense of that curve in the back here. One more breath. And then let your left hand come back so you can press up and bring your left forearm parallel to the front edge of your mat. Reach your right arm out overhead and again lower your forehead down, maybe onto your arm. Spread your fingers. Let yourself press gently down into your hands. Let your hips shift back a little bit and your heart melt down. Good. One more breath. And then bring your right hand back so you can press your way up. And now shift forward like to a little half plank here. So you're on the flesh above your knees. Your hands are right under your shoulders. And then from there, shift back again. Not all the way to child's pose, but just shift your hips back a little bit here. And then we'll do that again, coming on forward. Now, if you want to lift your knees up and come into a full plank, do. If you'd rather keep your knees down and stay in a half plank, do. And then we'll bring the knees down again. And again, just come into shifting back a little bit with your hips. And then from here, you might want to get your blocks. We're going to step our left foot forward, our right foot back. Keep your right knee down for a second if you can. If you need to put a blanket underneath your knee, do. And just feel now easily pressing into the top of the right foot. You don't go any farther forward than feels good for you. Shifting your hips where you can. Keep your hands on the blocks. Don't go overboard. Just wake up here through the front of the hip. Good. And then we're going to switch. Put our left knee back down to the floor. Bring our right foot forward. And again, as you start to shift your hips forward, that front knee bends. You can keep your hands there on the blocks. Press gently into the top of the left toes. Good. And then we're going to bring that right knee back down again, and we're going to bring the left foot forward again. And this time, let's lift the back knee up and come on into full lunge here. Whatever height you want your hands to be. Draw your shoulders down. Let yourself feel your whole body here extending out into your lunge. And we're going to switch again to bring the right foot forward, the left foot back. Again, finding that length in the back body. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other. And from here, let's step forward and come on into our standing forward bend. And you know, if you need to take the curve out of your back, use what you need. Elbows can be above your knees. You can come up higher onto blocks so that your back is long. If you're fine to go ahead and fold over your legs, do. Everyone is different. Okay, really close attention to how you feel. Let your head release and to feel heavy if that doesn't bother your back. You know, if it's better to keep your back of your head in line with your spine, do. Sometimes that head hanging can put too much pressure. Full deep breaths. Let it be easy. So just receive your breaths very easily, in and out. And as we let our hands come up to our hips here now, we're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose here now. Take your time. If you need to adjust your feet, do. Bringing your gaze on forward and out, whether your eyes are open or closed. Shift if you need to. Shift a little bit. Sway a little bit if that feels good so that you get centered. It's like you kind of find that central plumb line of your body and you start to feel very equalized out between your feet. Think of feeling very balanced front to back and side to side. And feel the hips just naturally wanting to stack up over your ankles, shoulders over your hips. Crown of the head reaching upwards, so there's length in the back of your neck and your throat. And as we unfold our arms now on down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. If you want to look at your hands, do. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come on forward into your standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you lengthen out through your spine into a flat back. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale, exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So take your time. First dog of the class, you might want to move a little bit or walk. You might want to change your stance a little bit. Maybe even pick your feet up and circle through your ankles. Just play a little bit, you know. Let it feel good and easy so that you don't force yourself into down dog. You like ease your way into it. Spread your fingers wide. Feel your elbows softly hugging towards each other. And on the next inhale, let's come on out to a plank. Really nice and strong. Like you're pushing the floor away from you equally with your hands. And we'll lower down. If you want to put your knees down first, do. You can go through a full push-up as you want, going down to the floor. And let's slide onto our forearms into a little sphinx. So let your fingers spread nice and wide. Elbows under the shoulders, unless that bothers your back. Remember, you can slide your elbows back further if you need. Again, find that length of feeling in the back of your neck and your throat, so you're not really shortening the back of your neck, but instead there's this feeling of length. One more breath. And then we'll come on back down. Bring your hands back by your chest. We're going to make our way back to down dog, whether you come to a half or a full push-up, or shift back to your hands and knees and then back to your dog. Now, if you can, when you inhale, rise your heels up a little higher in your dog. And when you exhale, let them descend back down. Feel those elbows hugging inward. So inhale, the heels rise up, really feeling the feet here. Exhale, they lower back down. And then one more time, inhaling, rising up with the heels. And on the exhale, lowering back down. And let's bring our right foot forward to come into lunge here. And then we'll step back into our standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And again, support if you need. Right to your breath. Feeling your sitting bones over your heels. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, by all means do. Remember, you don't want to lock your knees. Easy breaths. Feel the four corners of the feet into the floor.
Imagine your arches lifting up. And then we'll bring our hands right back to the hips, bend the knees, coming on up to standing, and inhaling the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline now, and see if you can bend your elbows. Bring your hands right to the back of the top of your head. Press gently into your hands. Let the elbows just float up a little bit higher. You're supporting your head really, so just really be mindful of feeling your tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. One more inhale. And then on the exhale, come all the way back up to standing. Let yourself find your mountain pose just with your arms bent like this. And then stretch the arms up long and take a nice inhale if you want to look up too. And on your exhale, bend your knees and come on forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. Again, wherever you want your hands to go to give you that length in your spine. And we're going to step our left foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into that downward facing dog pose. So see if you can walk all the way to the tops of the toes, one foot at a time here. You go over the tips of your toes and walk through to press in to the top of one foot and then the other. Just be mindful. Take your time. Let your feet wake up a little more. Really get into the calves. And then finish off back in your dog. Bend your knees a little bit. Hug your elbows towards each other. And now, see if you can really feel your hands equal on the floor. So you're not rolling. You can feel your thumb, your pinky, your pointer finger pressed down into it, and your ring finger, your middle finger. And let your next inhale bring you on out to your plank. And we're going to lower down. Again, if you want to put your knees down first, do. Elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come onto our fingertips here. Come onto your fingertips. Let your elbows hug in towards each other a little. And then see if you can float your head up. Just take a little breath here. A little cobra. Don't press too hard in the fingertips. They're just giving you a little bit of support there. And then go ahead and come to your hands flat on the floor. And you can decide if you want to press up any higher in towards cobra. You don't need to. You can stay low. Move to where you can be. One more breath. And then we'll lower back down. We're going to come back to down dog, whether you come back through hands and knees or a partial or a full push-up. Really find your dog. Feel the breath coming into the back ribs. And we'll bring our left foot forward and come into lunge here. And then we'll come all the way back into our standing forward bend. So again, support if you need. Full deep breaths. Weight of your head, helping you find space in your spine. And of course, if you need support to keep your back long, use it. And we'll let our hands come on back up to our hips now. Bend our knees, rise up, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Moving with the breath here now. Inhaling the hands right up to the midline. On the exhale, open the arms as we come forward. Inhale into a nice long back. And exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale, exhale into downward facing dog pose. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. And your exhale lowers you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. Exhaling back into your down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up. Arms flowing to the top. And let the exhale easily carry you forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. Exhale as you lower down. And inhale into that cobra again of choice. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward. Lunge. And inhale. Exhale into that standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up again, arms all the way to the top. And let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale into that long back. We're going to find down dog. Place your hands, jump or walk your way back. Take your time. Wag your tail around a little bit if you need to. So be mindful so that you cannot feel like you're forcing your way into your dog. Just kind of you're naturally developing your way into your dog, right? Easily. Good. And now from here, we're going to bring the left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one. You might want your blocks handy. In fact, you will want your blocks handy. Get that back foot set. Bring your shoulders on around square. Actually, let your fingertips come to the tops of your shoulders. And let your elbows just melt down. So your shoulders are square to the front of your mat, right? Back foot is turned out maybe 20 or 30 degrees. And just let yourself enjoy here. Release and breathe. Really let your elbows melt down. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. And inhaling your arms forward. Once they're right out from your chest, clasp your hands, send your pointer finger out. Rise the hands up a little higher and then bend your elbows and let your hands rest like we did before at the back of the top of your head. And then see if you can feel your elbows rise up just a little bit. Does not matter here whether you really come into a big movement, right? It's really not a big movement. It's just that lift at the base of the shoulder blades. Now extending the arms up is up to you. You can stay with the elbows bent. You can extend your arms up if you choose. You can let yourself bring your arms more forward. Feel as equal as you can between your feet. One more breath here in your warrior one. And then we'll look forward again. Release your arms down along beside you here now. We're going to straighten this front knee out. Get your hips level and square. And bring your hands behind you. Now you might want to clasp them for pyramid, coming towards your pyramid, or you might want to hold your forearms, your wrists, or your elbows. It's really up to you. And then start to ease your way forward. Think about drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other here as you come forward. And you may not want to go far with your hands back behind you like this. Totally up to you. Come where you can. Take your time. Feel those thighs engaging up towards the hips. Really engaging those legs deeply. And then when you're ready to put your hands down, you decide what height you want to be. Once you get your hands down to the height of the blocks or the floor, if you need to adjust your stance a little bit because you feel a little bit not quite level and square in your hips do. And now, be with your breath. If folding forward over that front leg a little bit feels really good, you can. Otherwise, you don't need to. Good. Now come up a little more parallel to the floor here. We're going to bend the front knee. Find your lunge briefly. Bring your blocks more forward out in front of you. And then just see if you can launch yourself up into a warrior three. Turning the toes down of that right foot. You're on the left foot. Bend both your knees for a second. Bring your knees side by side. Give yourself a little break. And then inhale, bring that leg right back behind you into warrior three again. So again, exhale, drawing yourself, rounding into your back a little bit. And then inhale, if you can release your left arm forward, coming into your warrior three here too. Or if any of you want to experiment with bringing both hands up off the blocks, coming into your warrior three, you can do that. One more breath. And then bring the hands down if they were up. We're going to step back into lunge from here. So letting yourself come on back into your lunge and then back into downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit. Let your feet come a little closer together and lift your left leg up in the air behind you. Bend the left knee and open the hip. Let yourself, if you can, look underneath your left arm. Now, if you want a little more in your quad, draw your left heel in towards your buttocks. Kind of up to you. And then lengthen that leg long again. Turn it on down to release back to the floor with your foot. And let's go to the other side. Right leg comes up. Bend the knee slightly. Turn to look under your right arm if you can. And if you want to pull the heel in more, do. Good. One more breath. And then extend the leg, turn the toes down, bring the foot on back down. Come on out to your plank. And then put your knees on the floor. Shift back for a second into child's pose. Nice breath here. And then walk your hands over to the right a little bit. And breathe into the left side of your body. And then walk your hands back to the center and over to the left a little bit. And breathe into your right side. Good. And then come on back into center. Come forward to all fours. And then walk your way back into a plank now. Find your plank. Now you can decide if you want to bend your elbows and come to the floor or move through for an up dog from here. Totally up to you. Don't have to do any back bend at all. And then we'll make our way back into down dog. Walk a little bit. Take your time. And then from here, we're going to bring the right foot forward and we're going to come up for that warrior one again. So again, you want your blocks. You want to set that back foot. Get yourself established in your stance from your feet all the way up through your legs into your hips. Just be mindful. Let it feel good. Release for a second here. And then let yourself draw your arms forward. Clasp your hands. Send your pointer finger out. Now, you probably clasp the same way you did on the other side. We always do, right? So undo that. Bring your other thumb on top. And then send your pointer fingers out so you feel a little bit cockeyed, right? And then start to rise the arms up. Now, up to you here again. When you bend your elbows and you let the hands come to rest at the top of the back of the head. And you lift the elbows up. You're still really engaged in your belly. You shouldn't feel any sense of compression in your low back, right? If you do, come back to look forward more. And again, this extension of the arms, up to you as you think about coming into longer arms. They can stay by your head, by your face. You can bring them forward. Let yourself open up here into your warrior one. One more breath. And now bring your gaze forward. Release your arms on down and straighten that front knee out. Again, sometimes an adjustment of that back foot as you bring your hands behind you. Whether you want to hold hands or wrists or forearms or elbows, thighs lifting up towards the hips. Now remember, those hip pointer bones drawn towards each other. So it's not about how low you go. Your legs are so fully engaged when you're trying to come forward like this. So let yourself feel that sense of space in your knees. Doesn't matter how far you come forward. Feel the feet in the floor. One more breath. And then when you release your hands down to a surface, whatever height you want to be, again, if you need that adjustment in your stance a little bit, do it. Feel the squareness of the hips, whether you feel like staying long in your spine or folding forward over your leg. So imagine you're drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. Thighs engage upward. Good. One more breath. And then come up a little more parallel to the floor. Bend that front knee. Kind of let yourself send your blocks forward. And then launch on up and stretch that leg into warrior three back there. And now as you exhale, bend your knees. Bring your knees side by side. And when you inhale, lengthen back. And then one more time, as you exhale, bring your knees side by side. And when you stretch into that three, see if you can let your right arm come forward. If not, if you want to release and try again to bring both hands up to your heart, by all means do. Play where you can. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to reach back into lunge. So you might need to grab your blocks to come with you. Let yourself come on back into your lunge. And then from here, we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. Walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times. Let yourself move through to the tops of the toes. Good. And then you're on your own. You can come out to plank. You can move through a vinyasa or a kriya, moving through for a back bend. Or you may want to put your knees down and rest. You may want to let yourself just stay in dog. You may want to work a little bit on your core strength and your plank. Totally up to you. Good. And then finish off the one you're on so that when you meet back in down dog, you can kind of come home to your dog. Good. And from here, we'll bring the left foot forward. And we're coming on up for warrior two on this side. So line up those heels. Let yourself take your time. Start to let your arms float just a little bit up, right? So you're not bringing them all the way up, but you've got like a breath of air under your arms. They're still kind of reaching down with the fingertips, but out on a diagonal line. Now turn your gaze to look down over towards that left hand. And then when you're ready, start to float the arms higher, bringing your gaze right out over the top of that left hand. Feel the feet in the floor. See if you can lift your left heel up just a little bit. Imagine your outer left hip dropping down. And then lower that heel on down. And let's turn our left palm up. Bring your right hand to your right leg. Slide the right hand down as you lift up into that extreme stretch through the left side here in your reverse warrior. So one more breath. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So bringing your hand or forearm there above your thigh. Extending, if you prefer, that arm to come up in line, do. You can keep your arm down, you know that. Now, if you do have a long arm there, see if you can bend your elbow. Put your hand behind your head for a second. And just feel the back of the head coming into your hand. And then extend into that long arm again. Press into your forearm, draw your outer left hip back. Turn to look at the ground here now. And we're going to come into lunge. So you can use blocks if you want. Releasing into that right heel, reaching directly behind you. And then bringing your left hand to your left hip and turning into your twist here. So either keeping your hand down on your back or stretching the arm up. Totally up to you. If you'd rather do twisted prayer, go right for it. Right elbow can come across to that left knee. Good. One more breath. And now come on back into your lunge. And from here, we'll step back into downward facing dog pose for a second. And then come on down with your knees. Shift back towards your child's pose again. And walk your hands over to the right. Take a couple of breaths there. And then come on back through center and walk your hands over to the left. And then bring yourself back into center. And now see if you can come forward onto your forearms. Let yourself come in towards your Sphinx pose here. So releasing yourself into that Sphinx pose. You're on your forearms, elbows under the shoulders. And then clasp your hands, send your pinky finger out, curl your toes under, lift up into a forearm plank here. Just let yourself enjoy. And then bring your knees on down. Come on back down to the mat. Hands by your chest. Let's come on back into down dog from here. Walk a little bit. Take your time. And we are going to bring our right foot forward this time. And come on into warrior two on the other side. So lining up those heels. Get yourself really stabilized there. That bend to that front knee. And then arms float low, just a little bit out from you. Look down towards your right hand. Now this time, see if you can imagine energizing all the way through your fingertips. So instead of your hands being limp, energize, like you're feeling sparks coming out through the tips of both sets of fingers. And then as the arms rise up, keeping your gaze right there over the top of your right hand. Feel the shoulders softening down. Let yourself feel equal through your feet, all the way up through your legs into your hips. And as we turn that right palm up, left hand comes down, gives you support as it slides down. Inhaling into that right side. One more breath. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. So again, it could be your hand or your forearm onto your thigh. If you feel like you want to lift that left arm up into line, do. releasing that outer right hip down and back a little bit as you press into your hand or your forearm. Now you're equal through both sides of the body. Bend your left elbow if you want to. Put your hand behind your head for a second. Feel the head gently coming into your hand. And then go ahead and extend your arm up long again. One more breath here. Now we're going to turn to look down at the floor. And we're going to release back into lunge here. So again, you can use blocks if you want, whatever feels good underneath your hands. To add that twist, right hand to the right hip and rolling that shoulder up. Hand can stay down, arm can stretch up. You can bring your left elbow across to your right knee if you want. Good, one more breath. And now we're going to bring our hands back down. We're going to lower the back knee down to the floor. Press into the top of the foot. Shift your hips forward a little bit. And now, and you might want your blocks here. Now we're going to come shifting back with the hips, straighten the front leg out, and let ourselves extend forward over that right inner thigh, right? It's like the middle of the body is kind of right over the inside of that thigh. The leg is long, hamstring getting a nice stretch. Now feel your heel drawing onto the floor of that right foot, back towards you a little bit. Good. And then come forward again. Shift forward again. And then we're going to let our right knee come back down to the floor, step our left foot forward, and then again, shift forward again. Press into the top of the right foot. Let the hip feel probably a little bit different when we first started this, right? Feels a little more open. Got a little more movement. We're going to shift backward with the hips. Let the left foot come off the floor so you're on your heel. Leg is long, heel is drawing down to the ground and back towards you. And you're coming out over that inner leg there. Opening up. Good. And then we're going to come on back forward again. And from here, lift your back knee up into lunge, and we'll make our way back into downward facing dog. So you are on your own. If you want any more vinyasas or kriyas, now's the time. Last vinyasa or kriyas. So if you feel like you've had enough, put your knees down and rest. If it feels good to move a little bit more, if you like to find some planks, some up dogs, move through the way you want. And then we'll meet back in down dog again. Hug your elbows towards each other. And let's bend our knees very deeply. Think about your belly coming towards your thighs. And we're going to come forward from here, either jumping or stepping or walking your way towards the front of your mat. Feet right underneath you. Let your head release if you can. Maybe nod or shake your head a little bit. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. Bend our knees. We're going to rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So let your breath calm down here. Let yourself feel your mountain pose very easily, like your head is floating up in the clouds. So you're grounded through your feet, but it's very easy just to feel that space in your knees as your thighs engage upward a little bit. Pelvis lines up, tailbone reaches down. Good. And then we'll release and come on down. Shake out a little bit. Move around if you need to, right? We're going to bring our mats all the way into a wall. So if you're at home, a little bit of a wall beside you here at first would be nice. How much you decide you're going to use the wall is up to you. But for this first thing, everybody needs either a kitchen counter or something towards their left hand that'll give them a little support. So we'll play a little bit, bringing our right knee forward like we're stepping up a step, right? So at first, just let your hip get accustomed. You can hold your knee if you want, or you can hold behind your thigh. And then open the knee out to the side a little bit. Let yourself just enjoy. If you need to shift around a little bit, do. Bring the knee on back to the front. Now, up to you. You can think about balancing here, or you can straighten your leg out a little bit, holding on to it. If any of you want to do the big toe hold, you can reach over, get your big toe, and stretch your leg out in front of you. Now, it can be bent, right? If you're a little bit bent, fine. Just take your time. If you're here, fine. Just balance a little bit. Take your time with that. And then we're going to open the leg out to the side from there. So rotating that heel forward, letting yourself come into that outward hip rotation. So you might be here, holding your knee either behind your thigh or at your knee. You may decide holding the wall is a better idea for you than trying to let go and balance, right? And then let's bring the knee back forward, bring the leg back forward, and then send your knee down, your right foot behind you. If you can hold on to the top of the foot, do. If not, just flex your foot. Let yourself feel your quad there. And then come a little bit forward with your chest. Send your knee a little behind you. Now here you can balance in your dancer's pose if you want. You can keep your hand on the wall. You don't have to go very far. Just take your time. Let yourself enjoy opening across the right side of the chest. Good. We're going to come on back down. Release that foot down. Shake out that leg you're standing on. So be mindful. And then we'll bring our right hand towards the wall. And again, as you shift your weight onto that right supporting leg and you lift your left knee up, just stay for a second. You can hold on if you want. Keep holding the wall for a minute. And then open it to the side so you feel that sense of even lifting higher in the front of the right hip. And then bring the leg forward again. Knee forward. Now, you can straighten out or not, right? If you think, I want to try reaching down and get my foot. Maybe I can't get my leg long, but maybe I can keep it bent. And even if you're a little rounded in your back, so what, right? And you can work on balance there if you want. And then you can open that leg to the side, rotating the heel forward. Again, whether you balance or not or keep your hand on the wall, doesn't matter. And then we'll bring the leg on back in and down. Bring your knee straight down towards the floor. Foot comes behind you. Whether you reach back and hold the foot is up to you. If you press the foot into your hand, let your knee go a little back. Your chest naturally wants to come a little forward. And you can decide about whether you want to let go of the wall. You know, maybe some of you want to go further forward with the torso, a little farther back with the knee. And then when we've had enough, we're going to come on down right away. Turn back to the wall. Walk your feet back so you come down to child's pose with your toes touching the wall. And you can decide how you need to come into that child's pose. So if you need to stay somewhat forward because it's too much on your knees, your hips, your back, or shifting back, arms soft overhead, or bringing the arms back alongside your legs. So, be comfortable, be mindful. Just release into your breath, feeling your breath coming into your low back. Good. One more breath. And now let your arms come long overhead, okay? And we'll come up to all fours and curl our toes under and shift back into down dog with your heels slightly up the wall, right? So you don't want to have the balls of the feet all the way into the wall. Let them be out an inch or two, right? So that you have a little bit of, in your feet, a little bit less intensity, right? Hold your elbows towards each other. If you can bring your feet a little closer together, do, and lift one leg up the wall. Now, some of you don't want to do this. Don't do it. If any of you want to walk your hands back towards the wall, you can come in towards a split with your leg up the wall there. So if that feels good, you can try it. Don't need to. You come down anytime you want. You can switch legs anytime you want. You can come down and get out of your hands, you know that. So if you prefer to come down and rest and come back up on forearms, So that if you want to do a little inverting without being in your hands, by all means do. So you can play towards those handstand preps, or you can come into dolphin and play towards your forearm stands. Or you can rest. Good. And rest when you need. So that if you do want to go up again, you feel kind of ready. So if you do want to go up one more time, let it be now. Of course, when you do get ready to rest, you can either rest in child's pose, or you may decide that you'd rather rest sitting up with your head up above your heart, right? So just be mindful, let it feel good. And from here, we're going to come on forward towards a pigeon pose. And those of you who know pigeon is a little too intense, you can lie on your back and do a figure 4, crossing an ankle above a knee. If you need a blanket, if you shift to bring your left knee towards the left front corner of your mat, perhaps it would feel good to put a little bit of blanket underneath your left side so that you're even and level in your hips. Not everybody will need that. Some people, it feels a lot better to do that, not everybody. So you be where you can. Kind of experiment a little bit. Remember, this left heel is in towards your right hip pointer bone there. The knee is angled towards the corner of your mat. And you can stay with your hands on the ground, letting yourself just enjoy feeling that uplift here. Now, you'll feel a nice openness through the front of your right hip, right? One more breath here. And then we're going to slowly make our way forward. And this is totally up to you, how far you go. So you can rest your forehead on your hands, make a pillow. You can stretch your arms out. Just be mindful. See if you can. Feel the top of the right toes gently pressing into the floor. And then draw your left toes back a little bit. Whether it's the outside of that foot or the top of the foot pressing into the floor, press a little bit down. So you're engaged up into your hips. Breathing into your low back. And now come up just a little bit if you can, and let yourself move over towards that left thigh. So you're supported by your hands or your forearms. And just ease your way out over that thigh a little bit. It's not a big move. And then come back through center and come over the other direction, away from that bent leg. Pressing into the top of the right toes back there. Good. And then come on back into center again. And now if you can, walk back the way we began, to have your hands on the floor and come on back up into center too. Pressing into the top of the toes back there. Good. And now we're going to switch. We're going to bring that left knee back. You can do whatever you need to do between sides. We're going to bring the right knee forward, angling towards the right front corner of the mat. Again, if you need to put that blanket underneath your right hip a little bit so you're not dropping all the way into that hip and getting your hips unleveled, do. And then bring your hands again to give you that uplift and feel that openness across the front of the left hip. Press down into the top of the toes. One more breath. And now as you start to come forward again, you take your time. You go where you want. Be on your forearms if you'd rather. Use a block if you want. Make a pillow with your hands if that feels good. And now, see if you can just imagine breathing into your pelvis, like your pelvis expands when you breathe in. One more breath. And now come up enough to where you can walk over towards your right, towards that bent knee there. It doesn't matter about how far you go, just a little bit, pressing into the top of the left foot. And then come on back through center and we'll go the other way. Again, you don't have to go very low. You can stay up on hands or forearms. Let yourself, again, just release there. And then we'll come back into center. And again, if you can bring your hands back and lift up as we did at the beginning, so that you bring yourself on up and press into your hands, open here across the chest. Really enjoy that openness in the front of the left hip. Beautiful. Now come forward enough from here, and you might need to move your blanket if you have one like I do. We're going to shift over to our right side and stretch our legs out here into a wide angle. So if you have that blanket and it's really wonderful for you to sit up on one, grab your blanket and sit up on it, right? Let yourself bring your feet as close together as you need. It's not important how wide your angle is here, right? We're all built differently, so some of us will need our feet closer, and some of us will be able to bring our legs farther because that's how our hips are built, right? Knees and toes are facing up. Let yourself sit up nice and tall. If you need to put your hands behind you and press down and kind of imagine you're trying to lift yourself up off the floor, do. And then once you let yourself release, hands to your legs. Feel the heels on the floor, drawing back towards you. And then from here, imagine as you come a little bit forward. Doesn't matter whether you come a little or a lot. Feel your inner thighs getting a little more. Imagine your legs are pinned down. Both the inside and the outside of your thighs are pinned down to the floor so your feet don't roll forward or back. You can hold your feet. You can put your hands in front of you on the floor. You can use a block. So just ease your way to where you can be. Think about that you're coming forward from your low back. You know, and if you need to bend your knees a little bit and that helps you in this pose, you can let your knees bend a little bit. Feel the heels drawing back towards your sitting bones so you're very engaged as you come forward. Good. Be with your breath. Good. One more breath here. And now, let yourself walk over towards your right leg. So you're just walking over. Put your right hand behind your leg, your left hand on the inside of your leg, and fold a little bit over that leg. And then reach your right hand down towards your ankle or your foot and open into side stretch here. Let yourself release into side stretch. If you want, you can even put your left hand on your right toes. You know, try to keep your left sit bone fairly down to the floor. If it floats up a little bit, it's okay. And then we'll turn back to walk back through center. So just ease your way back through center. We're going all the way to the other side. So at first, walk over to put your left hand behind that left leg, your right hand on the inside. Let yourself kind of fold over a little bit there. And then reach your left hand again down to your ankle or to your foot and open into that side stretch. So letting yourself, again, come as far as you want into side stretch. Good. One more breath there. And then turn to look down. Walk your hands on back into center again. Stay at center for one more breath. And then we'll walk ourselves on back up and let your legs come on together. Use your hands to help you if you need. And just stretch your legs out and circle through your feet, your ankles. And we're going to get ready to come down onto our backs on the floor. So just take your time. You might want a block or two handy just in case. Let yourself come on down and get comfortable. Get your knees into your chest for a second. Let yourself release there. Side to side, whatever feels good. Circle the knees if you want. You can always do the exhaling, drawing your knees in towards your chest, and inhale, letting them come away to where your arms come long. So if you hold your knees, one hand on each knee, and then you exhale when the knees come in and inhale when they come away from you, you can just ease your way into that movement through the low back. And then side to side a little bit. We're going to bring our feet on down to the floor. Bring your arms down alongside you. And turn your palms down towards the ground. The arms are in pretty close to you. Turn your palms down towards the ground. Press down a little bit into the backs of your upper arms and shoulders. And then roll your shoulders under a little more. And now with your hands, imagine you're trying to pull your hands away from the midline here. They're on the floor though, right? They're not moving. And then see if you can float up into your bridge pose here. If you get up there and you're like, oh, my feet are just not right, come back down, readjust where your feet are, press down, and then imagine you're trying to pull your hands away from each other again. And then some of you, once you get up, might want to go ahead and clasp your hands underneath you, rolling your shoulders under and letting yourself press down into the backs of the arms there, right? Up to you. Be mindful. If you're like, oh, all I really want to do today is be in supported bridge, by all means, grab your block or blocks and do that. You know, you can be down, resting on your blocks. You can work in your bridge either with arms long or hands clasped, or bending your elbows, letting yourself press into the backs of the arms that way, right? And you know, come down and up whenever you need to. And if you feel really good to come down and try a little bit of upward facing bow pose, a back bend there, you are more than welcome to do that. You all know that anytime you want. Or you're welcome to rest in your supported bridge and give your back a chance just to release. So take your time. Give your body really time to go where it needs to go. You know, you don't need to wait for me. When you need to come down, just make sure you release your back, however it feels good to you. Knees in towards the chest, or letting yourself come into a little bit of a happy baby pose, or even letting your soles of your feet come towards each other into a little Baddha Konasana if that feels good. Or anything. And if you need a little twist, mind you, or any other pose or movement. You know, I'm starting to move around here the studio so that if anybody needs any kind of support for Shavasana, as you start to settle in, let me bring it, or a blanket. Same thing at home. So if you're at home and you know that you need a little bit of support, if your back bothers you when you lie out on the floor flat, chances are a little bit of support underneath the backs of the knees will give the pelvis a little more relief. And also, if you feel like your chin lifts up when you're lying back, put just a fold of a blanket or two behind your head. Doesn't need to be a big pillow, right? You just want to find that release in the back of your neck and throat. And just allow yourself to kind of melt your way down into the ground, right? Come to your breath. Accept your breaths easily in and out. There's nothing you need to do in order to breathe. Your breath is going to come in and go out, and it'll start to quiet, and then you may feel the need to breathe in deeply again. Just be okay with how your breath wants to come in and go out. Let your awareness keep coming back to the breath. And just give your mind and your body these few minutes. Giving yourself time to benefit from all you just did. Just allow yourself to completely and fully relax.
refreshing you so that you come back into feeling like moving. Fingers and toes leading you when you're ready. Into your hands, your feet. You may even want to circle through your wrists, your ankles a little bit. And do what your body needs to do. Stretch or bend. If it feels good to bring your knees in towards your chest, do. Stretch if you need to. Take your time. And you know you're welcome to roll to either your right or your left side if that's comfortable for you, to come into a soft fetal position. You can rest on your side for a few breaths and let your arm be like a pillow if you don't have anything handy there. And just enjoy the ground a little bit longer if you can. Firmness of the floor to help you come up easier. If you're on your side, you can press into your top hand, stretch your top leg out a little bit. And when you do start to rise up to sitting, see if you can let your eyes stay closed and allow your body to adjust its way into what feels good, how it feels good to sit. There's no right or wrong. And as you start to lift up through the top of your head and feel the length of your spine. Let your hands come to rest wherever feels comfortable for your shoulders. Feel that central column of your spine really supporting you here now. And watch your breaths again, in and out through your nose. And on your next exhale, allow your hands to gently meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.